When the music fades, all is
One street over there's a life I could have known, one beyond my wildest dreams. Maybe that road could have carried me to streets of gold. Things aren't always as they seem. Looking back on all the chances that I missed, some I held, some slipped away. One street over where my memories exist, I wondered what would change, I really couldn't say. In this life there's nothing certain, except the curtain that rises to the stage. Silly games of second guessing, I just forget the lessons that I couldn't learn. Because one street over there's a life I could have known that would have kept me from the one I had today. Time's gone by, I've traded like dirt into clay. I thought my memories would end. One street over's now 1,000 miles away. When I close my eyes, I'm back to where I've been. In this life there's nothing certain, except the curtain that rises to the stage. Silly games of second guessing, I just forget the lessons that I couldn't learn. Because one street over there's a life I could have known that would have kept me from the one I had today.
Good morning, Robertson County. What's up? This is 1100 WSGI. I'm Utah Laverne, and this is One Street Over, and it's Wednesday. Oh, how many days now till Christmas? Oh, I can't even count. So we don't do Christmas on the regular day at my house because I am the mother of 4 boys, and if you're in that same world with me, you know that you adjust your schedule. You don't. Well, and one thing too, I've got grandkids. Come on in, Dr. Causey. I've got grandkids now, and my 3 grandchildren, I don't want to drag them out on Christmas morning. I want to go to them and let them be and have their time. So we celebrate Christmas at a different day. And last year we put it off until after Christmas because we had 2 graduating from tech. And so the 17th, or the Saturday before Christmas, was graduation day. And so we had to adjust our schedule. But typically we go the Saturday before Christmas. But we ended up last year having it after Christmas, not getting to celebrate until the end of July or end of January because so many people kept getting sick. So I was like, never again. We're going first. So that way, if anybody picks up anything, it will be at my house and they can spread it around and I don't miss the time with my family. But I'm kidding, just a little. But we are having Christmas, to say that, Saturday. So while you may have another week and a few days, I've got like 3 days. So I am hustling, bustling, trying to get all my stuff together and my ducks in a row so I can celebrate Christmas with my family on Saturday. Oh my goodness. You know, and you get to that place where you just have to go, okay, I can't do that, but I can do this. And you just go, it's okay. Just don't let it all get you worked up and think, oh, everything's got to be perfect. No, the perfect Christmas is just when you're together and you love each other and you just remember the reason for the season. Right, Dr. Causey?
Right.
Good morning.
Good morning.
It's Plaid Day at Greenbrier.
Hot dog.
So I'm wearing my plaid. At least I think I got the list right. I've been in such a last couple of days. Did you know what we did yesterday at Greenbrier? Because I know you were so busy. We did have you ever been to Recovery Court and seen the remembrance ceremony that they do?
I went a few.
Okay.
It's been a couple of years.
Well, they do.
I know what you're.
The remembrance ceremony where we celebrate the people who've overcome addiction, but then we do a video for those who didn't make it. Right. And so we're doing a documentary on the evolution of drugs in one of the AV classes. Right. And so we took them to drug recovery court. Right. And the thing we had to miss was the remembrance ceremony because we had to go because it was, we had to get back with the bus. Right. So the kids didn't see what I wanted them to see because that had such an impact on me. Mm-hmm. And I told the students yesterday, I said, the thing that impacted me so heavy when I saw that for the first time is I recognized everybody there, not literally, but it was mothers and fathers and grandmas and grandpas and brothers and sisters and friends and sons and daughters. And I said, it just set me, and so I've talked to Dr. Osborne and different ones. I said, what if we did this at school? And we did a remembrance video of people that here in Greenbrier that have been touched by addiction. And Althea from the recovery court, she came and said a few words, and we had an assembly yesterday and shared a remembrance video that I want to share. If you've got time, if you've got time after, because the thought was shared yesterday that we could do this in all of our high schools because it brings, I mean, we had several. I told the kids, I said, if you've ever been respectful and quiet, this is the moment, because there's people of the loved ones that some of them you're going to see on these screens.
Right.
You know, we had one teacher that had a brother and a sister, one teacher with a brother. I mean, one teacher with a brother, one with an uncle, one with a sister, a student with a mother on that screen. Right. Yeah. And so it was like, I mean, it was impactful. I believe. I didn't know if you had heard what we did, but it was one of those things.
I had not, but that's when I get asked all the time, or parents fill out as own request or whatever. You know, I don't want my child to go to school here because, you know, I've heard there's drugs or whatever. And my automatic answer is, I always say, they're in every school we've got. And so it is, you know, I don't pull any punches when it comes to that. We don't gloss over it. We know that there are addictions out there with our kiddos. And so I'm very glad to hear that. I don't think if I'd heard that, then I didn't hear something right, because I think I would have paused. We have a curriculum now that our school resource officers are trying to share with our kids, and just talking about the dangers. You know, our kiddos, they really see that 24 hours in front of them. Sometimes not even that far ahead, and they don't see the next month or the month after that or the 2 years after that. They don't, you know, and rightfully so. I mean, when I was 17, 18, I don't think I realized what the next few years was going to bring either. But at the same time, if they've got someone that they were close to that were affected, and you know, letting other people know that, so that we can all learn and know that this is not a road I want to go down. I think it's because here's the thing: it only takes, you know, it only takes one time to automatically realize this is something I really want to do because of the effect that it gives me. It doesn't take 12 times. You know, it could really just be once, and that's a hard thing for a lot of people to recognize. But thank you for sharing that.
Well, and I will share the video with you, and I recorded everything from yesterday. We're going to use excerpts of it in this documentary. We had hoped to finish our documentaries by the end of this semester. We're going to have to carry them over into AV2 because I don't want to rush it. I want them to look good. I want them to be what, you know, and do it right. So we're continuing. We're going to take that. I told the students that have been working on it, I said, I don't want you to feel like you can't come back in and come in maybe during cat time or during after school or something and put into, if you're not going to be in AV2 to help finish it. But because I mean they all have a part in it, but especially this the evolution of drugs one that they had the idea for, is too important. Now we did one on Bigfoot too. I said we covered the spectrum. I was telling Dr. Osborne, I said we've got the is Bigfoot real? And then we've got the evolution of drugs. So we're, you know,
even
carrying it.
You turn on to Netflix right now, and they actually have a genre, you know, a documentary genre, and some of them are goofy. I mean, they're meant to be that way.
Yeah.
You know, the fake documentary that they did on COVID for 2020, and then they redid the one for 2021. Have you seen those?
I have not.
Oh, it's hilarious. No, it is. I guess it's technically rated mature because there's some language in it and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But if you go down and it's a documentary about 2020, and then they redid it again 2021 and in Netflix, and they have all these actors that are playing, you know, all these different characters. You know, that we all,
I've got to watch.
We all learned during 2020, and
it's
it's all fake. It's all fake, but it's quite priceless if you watch it. So.
Oh, I love it. Well, then this whole documentary idea, we're going to continue to expound upon that. But I don't know. As I told the students, I said, I just appreciate so much you guys being willing to walk with us through this initial semester and trying to figure it out. And we're getting the new computers in there on Thursday. And I told them, I said, we've got to wrap up what we're doing and get everything to a place where we can let them come in, and because they want to get that done before Christmas. That way they don't have to think about it, and it's not something. It'll be something right out of the gate when we come back in January. We'll be able to hit the ground running with the new systems and stuff. So, we got drones yesterday. Oh, I'm so excited. I'm just learning all kinds of stuff. The students
I
are
knew they were
too.
coming, but
Yeah, it's exciting. And I mean, it's one of those things. We're just, every day is something new, and I'm having so much fun. Thank you again, my friend.
Well,
Thank you. I'm
like
having
I said,
fun.
I
having
know
fun.
we're wrong. We had the program there at one point, but of course, you're really building it from scratch, and that's so we're impressed with you and your ability to do that.
Well,
and I think in about just a few years, people are going to look back and say, "Wow, you remember when we started this program?"
Yeah.
Just
wait.
I mean, it's kind of like you're at in the beginning phases of where like BioSTEM was 3 years ago,
Right.
And now we've got the capstone project for those kids. We've got the certification that they can get now. And all of this stuff.
Yeah.
And that's how that's how you build CTE programs. Is you start with an idea and courses that match that idea, and then eventually that turns into a career. So. One of the things that a lot of people may not realize that I was forced, sorry, Chamber, I was forced to go to the Sugar Plum Ball over this past weekend, and it was a great time. Stacy and I had a good time. You dress up. You don't get a chance to do that very, very much.
Yeah, I would have liked to have gone. I forgot about it.
In our world, you don't get a chance to do the black tie very often. But the proceeds from that went to the Chamber of Commerce, specifically to help link programs that link small businesses and our businesses here in Robertson County to our CTE departments in the Robertson County Board of Education and our Robertson County Schools. So we're we're pumped about that, and I love the Chamber, but it's one of the main reasons I went. Carly called me and says, "You do know where the money's going, right?" And I went, "Oh." Okay.
Oh, see, and they said Penny Callis. I was at her place last night. Yes, I have some fresh color on my hair. Thank you, Penny. I love you so much. But she was saying she was talking about going to the Sugar Plum Ball, and I was like, oh, I forgot about that. I wanted to go, and she says, well, it's going to the CTE program. I was like. Oh, she goes, well, they talked about it on your show. Like, you remember that, and I don't.
You're busy. But I'm going to tell you, just a quick shout out real quick to the Chamber, because when you do things like that, I mean, it's a big dang deal. I mean, it really is. And I know they recognized Carly that night as well, but they did it right. I mean, everything they did was just spot on.
Yeah.
I mean, everything from, the place settings to the food itself and I mean, the band, the Fortunate Sons. I mean, just.
Oh, I love Fortunate
it's one of those where
Sons. They're
you
so
walk
good.
in, and I love our Springfield Center. I do.
It is nice.
But we've had it for quite a few decades now. And but when you walk in, you truly forgot you were at the center. I mean, you really did. I mean, the way that they had it decorated, it was just absolutely gorgeous. And it's one of those where, originally we didn't want to go. Like I said, sorry again, but once we found out where the money went, say, yeah, we'll do it.
Yeah.
I own a tux now, after 50 years. But when we walked out, got in the car and we were on the way home, we said, yeah, we would do that again in a heartbeat. And they did a really, really good job. So.
And that's the first one they've had in a while. And so that's the thing. And that was one of the things. We went a couple of times and I wanted to say we took some of the boys when they were younger, because we thought, well, this is going to be a really fun thing to do every year, and then they stopped having it. And so when they were bringing it back, I was so excited about it. And again, I've just been so busy that it just slipped my mind. Everybody remind me next year, because I really want to go. And I'd like for my boys to come back and go with their brides, and I think they would love that.
And you had everyone from the youngest of the young, the newly married couples or not been married too long, and new to Robertson County. We had a couple at our table new to Robertson County, relatively new, and then and of course I got to sit at the table with James Wade, who of course I don't know if they put us together so we would get in trouble or not get in trouble. I don't know, but anyway, he and his wife, who's one of our counselors. But I mean, it was. But then everybody else, the kind of like some of the who's who in Robertson County, and of course I'd definitely done include myself in that group, but
Yeah, you're the director of schools.
But you know what, Mayor
so,
Vogel,
yeah.
Mayor
Yeah,
Vogel,
Mayor Vogel, I'm sure. Yeah.
Ryan Martin, you know,
City manager.
of course, Ace Meyer, who's tourism, of course, and
Yeah.
it's really just to see people out and enjoying each other, and that's it was a great event, and it was spot on. It was done perfectly.
And completely sold out, I'm sure, because it typically, that was one thing before when they used to have it, you had to get tickets early. So please reach out to me so I can get tickets early on and make sure and go next year, because that would, because I turned 60 on Thursday night. That would have been a perfect celebration to have gone out to make a part of my birthday weekend.
They had valet parking in front of the center. You know, which is
that's
awesome.
so cool. Yeah, I'm sorry I
did
missed
that,
it.
so,
I'm
yeah.
so sorry I missed
Yeah,
it.
they did it right.
You were talking about the band, just one other memory, and I think I know who this woman was, and she's since passed, but one of our beautiful blue-haired ladies, when I went years ago, she was out there boogieing, and I mean, she was getting it, and I mean, she probably 78 years old then, but I'll never forget just her having fun. I got such a kick out of her, and it's just again that vague memory you have, and I'm like, I think I know who that was, but I'm not going to say.
Well, she's not blue-haired, but I got to say, Miss Carol Zeck, who worked for us over at Joe Burns High School when I was a principal.
Okay.
She's also was grandmother to the kids who are now graduating and gone or whatever. But back during Joe Burns High Prom, some of the faculty would go, and Miss Carol was one of those that was out, dancing and having a great time.
I love it.
As a grandmother, back when I was principal at Joe Burns High School, she was at the Sugar Plum Ball. On the other night. So it was great to see her, love her to death, and have her now probably about 20 years. So
that's
she was
cool.
at the ball, but anyway.
Well, it's fun just to talk. When Dr. Causey gets in here, he's one of those folks I can just sit and chit chat with. But we've got business to cover. We're doing this on Wednesday instead of Tuesday because he had a conflict yesterday. So Donovan switched with you. And so what happened at the board meeting on Monday night?
Well, we did start with the planning session at 6:00. We did have two things really on the agenda. Two main things, I guess three. If we talked for a few minutes about board procedures during a meeting. Most boards any board out there follows Robert's Rule of Order, and of course it's a pretty large book and whatever, but we were talking about for small boards, there are some things that you can do to help move that process a little bit easier, and so they talked about that for a few minutes as kind of a board discussion. But secondly, they did talk about some facilities around the Greenbrier area. One of the things, of course, everyone knows, and I will tell you, I'm going to apologize to the Greenbrier community. Last night, I think we ended up having to cancel a couple ball games out there, basketball games, middle school and high school, because of a water main break, and it was a main line. It was and it was kind of caused by the construction at the middle school. So anybody who's ever done construction, those things do happen. I don't like them happening. Matter of fact, I was in Bowling Green celebrating my sister's retirement last night when I got that call. But it is one of those where we do apologize for that. But it came back on. They got it fixed. The city of Greenbrier, give them a shout out. They were working about 8:30 last night, got it back on, I think around 8-ish or maybe a little bit before, earlier than I thought. So they were definitely on it. But at the same time, Greenbrier High School only has one gym. As you know, you're there every day. They're the only high school in the county with one gym. And anybody who's ever been in a high school and understands that at one point you could have basketball, you could have football. Yes, they do overlap. You could have wrestling, you could have cheerleading, you could have all of these practices and events going on. When you only have one gym, it's near impossible. I mean, they're out. You can go to Greenbrier High at any night where there's nothing going on, and I can promise you somebody's in that lobby practicing something.
They've moved out the tables,
and that's because they don't have another space. So we've had conversations for quite a while now on how we can build a second gym, and it will be the main gym. It will be the ones where you go to basketball games, and then we would turn the gym that they're in now to an auxiliary gym. But like I said, you go to any other high school in our county, and they've got two. So there's some property. I mean, some of it we own, some of it we don't. That's around the school there that we're talking about. How much do we need for a gym or another, a hallway with some classes in it, whatever the case may be, and how do we connect it to the existing building? Because I think the days of an annex or those kind of things are kind of done. But I do think that that's a pretty solid conversation, and then we're gonna hopefully have some more information in the spring.
I told the students the other day I had to step out to my car. I was parked just right outside where I could step out, and I said, I'm gonna come back in. I said, I'm gonna knock on the door, let me in. Right? It was just that kind of thing, just real quick. I was just like, I'm gonna be out there for 60 seconds and go get this, because you don't walk away from your students, right?
Correct.
And so I was like, I've just got to grab something, because I had a computer, this computer in the car I needed to get something off of. So anyway. And I was like, I'm just going to be real quick.
Real quick.
And I walk out the parking lot, and who's in the parking lot?
Me.
The director of schools. And I walked in, and I told the students, I said, I got a call about the director of schools walking out to the parking lot. And they just thought that was the funniest thing.
That's what I was doing.
He was looking at property, and I was like...
I'd seen property on the map, but I wanted to look at it with my own eyes, so that was funny.
Only me would get caught walking out to the parking lot.
That's funny.
And I promise you, it was like 60 seconds.
See, I've forgotten all about that.
Oh, no. I felt so bad. I was like, oh, my gosh.
Well, anyway. I will tell you the rest of the conversation for the planning session. We have a teacher advisory council, and it's made up of one or two teachers, one and an alternate from every single one of our schools, that our teachers can go to these two individuals and say, okay, I'm concerned about this. I've got this going on. I've got that going on. And then that council brings it to Michelle Galuzzi, who's our HR supervisor. And then she kind of vets some of those things out to the appropriate departments, and we try to fix those things, or at least try to communicate what we're trying to do to fix some of those concerns. So the board asked for a report from that council last night. So the rest of the planning session was really, it was Miss Galuzzi, who's just phenomenal for those who've ever worked through her. And this is her first year as HR supervisor. I just throw that out there. She's doing a fabulous job. But we talked student behavior. We talked teacher work schedules. We talked grades and attendance, some of the questions that folks had about that. We talked about classroom libraries and how, based on new legislation, classroom libraries have to be posted online now on a teacher's website. So if you've got a collection of, say, 600 books in your room that students can check out or take and read, you have to have those posted now on your website. So, but that takes a lot of work. I mean, it really does. So there's lots of apps that do that now. So just different ideas were presented on how some of our high school teachers or our middle school teachers are having the kids scan them, and they pop up to a list, and then you can post it on the website. So it looks it up by ISBN number.
Okay.
So we just talked about that and how we're actually going to have most of those. I think we asked most of our teachers to have those online by the end of January, February, something like that. So we'll be compliant by the law. Most of our teachers already are. They already have their list up. So that way, as a parent, you can look on your teacher's website and say, okay, these are the books that my kids have access to. EL support, English language learners. School. We talked about school cleanliness, and we have a new cleaning a group this year, HES, and they're going to. I'm going to be contacting them about coming to the January planning session, which is the second Monday in January, and it will be at 5:30. So they're going to come because some of our schools are not being cleaned to the level that they need to be. So we are talking about that. And of course, just like any other company out there now, I think they're struggling finding folks. If you're listening and you want a job and you like that kind of work, give us a call. We can hook you up with them. That is a third-party vendor for us. So all of but we do the background check and we do that. But they hire you, they pay you, everything goes through them, and then we contract with them. We had a very short discussion about the school calendar and what that looks like. And actually in the board meeting, the 24-25, believe it or not, we're that far out. If you want to know next year's school calendar, the 23-24 school calendar, it's on our website now. It's been board approved. 24-25, the board actually tabled it because of the way fall break fell. It's not on the same week as Columbus Day. So, and we try to balance out quarter one and quarter two, because they're supposed to be as close to 45 days as possible. So the way that it fell that year, where Christmas was, if we put it where it usually is on Columbus Day week, that week. And Columbus Day is a given. We have to have Columbus Day. It's actually in the MOU with the teachers. But if we do that, then quarter one was only going to be like 41 days, and quarter two was going to be 47 or something like that. I think I got that backwards. But anyway, so we actually put it on the next week, which evened things out a little bit better. But then it also meant you got all week plus a day. And
Right.
so the board asked to table that just so we could do some more surveying and see. And I think at some point that calendar won't change much, but we'll try to get it out to some folks and get some more opinions on it.
No, I don't think students and staff will mind a week and a day.
Oh, I don't think they will either. I think that was specifically said, but honestly, I understand for parents that's a long time.
Yes, it
try
is.
to
Yes,
find
it
childcare
is.
and that
Yes,
kind of
it
thing.
is.
We also had a very short discussion on because, like I said, these are topics that the teachers brought up for the board to know about. And it was drug testing student athletes. There are some districts that do that. So,
Oh, wow.
But anyway, just a short discussion on that. We'll look at some of the other districts that do that. Is it helping, or not? Because on the surface, there are a lot of negative things that could come from that. So I understand, most people will go, that's a great idea. But you also have to remember we're not NCAA, we're not a college, we're talking about high school kiddos here. So
Right.
so that's a hard conversation, but it's one that we did touch on a little bit. And then we lastly we just talked about attendance and sickness and the funk and how we're doing, and when do you decide to shut down schools, those kind of things, and also, and I will tell folks that right now we started the year with 10 days. We usually start with 12, 13, something like that. We had some for professional development this year where the kids don't go, but the teachers do. And then, so we had 10 days, and now we're at 9.
Okay.
So if anybody wants to mark their calendar, we have 9 days, and the director does love January snow. So, so just if you want to do that, but we do have 9, and we call them stockpile days because we can use them for all. We've used them for sickness. We have used them for eclipse. We've used them.
Yeah.
We've used them for the flood. We've used them for snow. We've used them sometimes when the boiler blows, and we have no heat. We've used them for that as well. So the state just give us so many days, and now because we do, and they're student days. And a lot of people say, well, they're school days. No, actually they go because the students go a few minutes longer every day. But as far as 180 days, it's still 180 days. So,
Okay.
But anyway, just know that was the planning session, and then we got to the board meeting. So I don't know if you want to.
Yeah, let's go ahead. We're at the bottom of the hour. Let's go ahead and take a break. We got to do 3 ads. We've just hardly taken a breath since we sat down and did it. Let's just start with the elephant in the room, and let's talk about Cumberland Connect. I'm so excited. They're a daily sponsor now, and so we're just thrilled to have them on every single day. We, Veterans Motorplex finished up their season. We had some open avails, and they grabbed them, and we're so thankful because I'm so excited. I told Caitlin Bonds, I said, there's really nothing I get more excited to talk about than Cumberland Connect because it's so it's such a game changer for somebody that has not had internet, and mine's getting worse instead of better. My AT&T, I think they're kind of throttling me because they're like, yeah, we know you're leaving us, we've heard, and so we're just going to put you, we're just going to mess with you because it has gotten to where I can't hardly do anything from home. And Gwen Harder, that comes in here on Friday, she is up on Hoods Branch Road. They got it first. She's up. She's always sending me. She'll text me her speeds. She's like, I got 686 uploads, and she'll send me a screenshot of it, and I'm like, stop it. She goes, I'm so excited for you to get this. I'm like, yeah, me too. Quit rubbing my nose in it, but it's awesome. I can't wait.
Well, I spent time with our medical director for the school system is Dr. Hunter Butler at Children's Clinic over in Springfield Children's Clinic right there, and they live out towards Coopertown, towards the interstate on the right. And he told me, I think yesterday, that they've now officially signed up.
Yay!
So now,
It's awesome.
of course, and when you sign up, of course, the first thing is to bring it to the house, because
Yeah.
they bring the fiber to the house
Yeah.
and put the box on the outside. And then the second appointment is for them to come in and put in the router and do all that stuff. So he's pretty stoked because, he's actually officially signed up now and just waiting for them to come hook it up to his house.
That's the thing. I've been, Brian Pulley with United Way. He's out in the Coopertown area. And so he's been telling me, he goes, by the time we get back here next week, so he's thinking by the time he comes in here tomorrow, so he may have it by now because he's been signed up and wanting it. So I'm so excited. But it is truly one of those sponsors. We're thrilled to have them on board because we're just thrilled with the possibilities of what you can bring to the table when you bring high-speed internet into your home. I mean, up to 1,000 megabits per second. That's a gig for $80. I'm paying $65 for terrible internet. And nothing against AT&T's people. They're awesome, but the service has really been just falling off worse and worse. And so I'm excited. If you want to know more, just go to www.cumberlandconnect.org. Testimonials from so many of my guests that come on, including Dr. Causey, talk about how you just forget what it was like not to have it. Now, they also have workshops. You can go come and check out the workshops that'll include, because if you don't understand how all this works, I'm sure you have a lot of questions. They're going to fill you in and get you up to speed. But the big thing is, go online. If you are a Cumberland Electric customer, you're going to have access to Cumberland Connect. So you just need to reach out to them, go online, register with your zip code, see when they're coming to your area, and let them know, hey, yes, put your hand up that you're wanting Cumberland Connect. And when you talk to them, please always let them know that you turned sent you and thank them for sponsoring our little thing one street over. Dr. Chris Causey is in the house with us today. And we're talking school board, a day off from what we normally do because we had a conflict yesterday. I guess your sister was having a big celebration.
Well, last night, yesterday afternoon.
Very cool.
Yeah, it was, but I was in Nashville yesterday morning. But yeah, she after 30 years, 28 of them in Kentucky and 2 in the world of Lafayette, Tennessee, in Macon County. That was a long time ago. But she retires, I think, at the end of next week or sometime in the end of December. So she was principal at Warren Elementary School.
Wow!
For those who are not recognize that name from Bowling Green, and she's actually doing some district things now. But she, after 30 years, she's retiring, and she's my oldest sister.
Yeah.
I have one in between us who actually works for WKU Police there. So,
okay.
But yeah, we were the 2 education kids.
Okay.
And
you're the baby,
very
huh?
proud. Yes, ma'am.
Oh, okay.
Explains a lot, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah.
And a PK. So that explains a lot.
Preacher kid and the youngest.
But it was really and I don't think the current principal was too happy with me at Warren Elementary. It was a great ceremony last night, and the punch and the teachers and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And so I was out in the parking lot. I was parking. I was coming in, and 2 of the teachers were coming out, and you could tell they were in festive gear and Christmas, whatever.
Yeah.
And I said, when's your last day? When's Warren County's last day? And they said, well, it's this Friday. I said, oh, I said we go until next Wednesday, and I said, so I was asking them directions about getting to the library and the ceremony, and they said, I said, well, Miss Jenkins is my sister, and they looked at me. She goes, oh, you're the superintendent from Tennessee. And I said, yeah. She goes, well, she talks about you. You know how you talk about your siblings. So we were just talking about it. I said, we pay better.
I knew that was coming. You tried to recruit them. I knew it.
Within 45 seconds, I'd given both of these ladies, wonderful ladies, very nice, I think they're elementary. And so I gave them my card. And I said, where? I said, if you hit one of our schools close to the interstate, East Robertson, White House, I said, you can be at school in 45 minutes, ladies. So I gave him. So I told their principal that, and he didn't smile for some reason.
Yeah, he's like,
so anyway, so I was trying to recruit, but
well, it's like Mr. Heinerman got on to the Sumner County folks for putting a bus
at Wendy's.
Right, and saying, "Hey, we're hiring." He's like, get out of here. But that's the same thing. It's like we're competitive. We're competitive.
So, but I will tell you, one of the things that we did at the board meeting right off the bat was, of course, we always had the pledge. And like I said, if you need cuteness in your life, look up the YouTube video because our pre-K kids from Bransford came over and did the pledge. And it's the sweetest thing.
They're so sweet.
Miss Jo Reeves, principal over there, is just phenomenal. And like I said, I wish I could just bottle up that and just feed it to our kids every summer, when they come in. But we did that. But we also recognized Mr. James T. Marshall. For those who know Mr. Marshall, he's supervisor of technology. You can't be from Robertson County and not know James T. A lot of people know him as an auctioneer, actually. But he's been, he's an auctioneer, but he's been our supervisor of technology for, 30 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and actually one of the first people I met in Robertson County when I was doing my student teaching, and then when I was hired at Chrysler. But a couple weeks ago at the state technology convention, they actually presented him it's the Dr. Howard Cisco Outstanding CTO Award. It's the only one they give in the state, and pretty much says as a supervisor of technology, he pretty much leads the way for all districts. And I'm talking about every single school system in the state of Tennessee. So your Nashvilles and your Memphis and your Chattanoogas and your Knoxvilles and all of those, we've gone from, back, 20 years ago, from being, okay, well, what's this county doing with this new thing called the internet or these computers or, whatever the case may be. Yep. Now people are asking him, how did y'all do this in Robertson County? One of the things even on the consent agenda, which sometimes flies by, we surplus our laptops for our seniors that are graduating in January. We have 5 graduations coming up, 6, in January for early grads, and those kids are graduating with a high school diploma, and they also get to keep their laptop that they were given as freshmen. We're one of the few districts that do that, and it's a good incentive. I mean, we're not going to get a whole lot of use out of them anyway. Oh, yeah. Most districts, they kind of refurb them and try to give them to somebody. We tell you if you graduate, you get to keep it, and that was, between that and all of the technology help that department gives a lot of kids. We are we're about as close to 1-to-1 K-12 as you can get. Middle school to high school, we're definitely 1-to-1, but we have enough devices in our elementary schools. We're about 1-to-1, and just very proud of the work that they do. And they do it with a smaller staff than most districts our size have. So we were able to we added some 4 computer techs, 5 computer techs this year, and that go out and they've been in your building.
Oh, they're wonderful.
And help out in different things. So yeah, we were able. It wasn't our award to give, but when you do it at a convention like that, and your family doesn't get to participate, we don't get to be there. It's kind of he had a couple of folks there, but we were able to recognize him and Anita, his wife, and his 2 kiddos, Mandy and Jamie, were there, and he had a grandkid there too. So,
wow!
So it was a special night for him. Very cool. But we're just lucky. I mean, we're really, really lucky. I know supervisors of technology out there in other school systems, and to say we've got the best would be probably the biggest understated thing I'll say today.
Well, congratulations. That's awesome. And I'm just getting to know him. Great guy. Yeah. He's a lot of fun.
Big guy. You can hear him coming before you see him. And he's got a really deep voice.
Yeah. He's my kind of people.
But he is a penny pincher. And we have conversations probably every day, every other day about this is what we have. This is what we could have. And this is a way that we can afford it. I mean, it really is. He is. And we're looking right now. Of course, we're moving the collaborative, our Austin P collaborative, that's been at Highland Crest. In January, that moves to Innovation Academy.
Oh, wow. Cool.
Because Highland Crest is really owned by Vol State, and I won't go into politics there, but Austin P is vacating there. Our collaborative is having to vacate because it's 100 and 200 level classes. Austin P will continue offering the 300 and 400 level classes at Highland Crest. So if you're junior classes, senior classes for college. But our collaborative is really freshman and sophomore. It's gen ed stuff. So we're taking that in Innovation Academy, and that means taking 3 of their classrooms, and kids are coming from other schools to take college classes in those 3. So they're going to have a separate entrance. So that involves swiping badges and all that stuff.
Oh yeah.
And like I told Austin P folks last week, I said our technology folks can do this. They're that good. So let them do that, and then y'all can pay for what you're doing over here. So
Yeah.
So I mean, that's a conversation we have. So
Very
yeah, we're
good.
very lucky that we've got that kind of relationship that we can have those conversations.
Excellent.
He's the best.
Awesome. Well, congratulations, and again, looking forward to getting to know all these folks better that I'm getting to know over my first months as a teacher. Let's pause and let's go ahead and take another break, and then we'll reset and come back and continue to discuss the school board meeting with Dr. Chris Causey. I want to talk about my friends Barry and Rebecca Richards with the Exit Realty Garden Gate team. Talking about real estate. I mean, it's one of those things. It's just constant in this area because people are coming here in droves. They want to be a part of what we've got going on. And so that if you have anything to do with real estate, there's just a lot of questions because of the interest rate hikes from a year ago. It has changed. If you're coming to the table to buy, it's going to change how much house you can buy, how much property you can buy. You got to make sure you're qualified to do what you can do. And Rebecca's an expert at that. She's one of the first in the area to be a seniors real estate specialist. She's studying. That's what that illustrates. Is she's staying up to date on everything that she needs to know to make sure that you're properly represented at the real estate table. Barry, the marketer of the bunch, he comes to the table knowing how to make sure that when people are looking through the listings, yours pops off the page. And that way, it's going to get a fair look, it's going to get a thorough look, and it's not going to be missed because there's a lot of properties out there. So he is an expert at that. They're a great couple. They're in Cross Plains. They've been there for over 20 years. They're one of us. So they specialize in Robertson County properties, but they also buy and sell in the surrounding counties and across the state line in Kentucky. So how do you connect with them? You go to sellwithbecky.com, sellwithbecky.com, or buy, B-U-Y, robertsoncounty.com, or better yet, just call them 615-504-7425, 615-504-7425. Always let them know U-Turn sent you. Dr. Chris Causey in the house. Going to get right back to it. We've been all over the place. I'm going to hush my mouth, and so
No, you're
let you go.
good. We had under administration, we actually we did have some first readings of some school board policies. Most of those, it's just aligning up with what the state law tells us and what TSBA recommends. So that we did that. I already told you we did move the 24-25 school calendar. That was not approved, but it will be on January's agenda. We did have Mr. Walling presented. Every year, teachers can vote on who they want to represent them, and some of that collaborative conferencing between, the contract between teachers and the district, and y'all went through that. Y'all filled out a survey, those kind of things, and as long as you have enough that says yes, we want to participate in collaborative conferencing, then you ask, okay, who do you want to represent you? Is it Robertson County Education Association? Is it Professional Teachers Association? There's a Christian Educators Association. There's but you have to have the law actually dictates at least 15% of teachers have to say this organization in order to have a seat at that table. So and that's the way the law reads. So the only organization that got that 15% was Robertson County Education Association, which is the biggest membership we have in Robertson County. So anyway, went through all that. We will start that process in the first part of the year to talk about what's in the contract now, and coaching supplements are in the contract, those kind of things. So they'll have a committee that was approved as well. Matter of fact, I think Miss Elmore at Greenboro High School is always part of that committee. So, you go to her and say, this is what I'd kind of like to see. And they bring all that together. The school system has their part of the committee. The teachers have part of theirs. And it's, we are pretty fortunate because, very rarely are there things brought up that just can't be done, whether it be a pay raise or whatever the case may be. And there's been some years where our CEA brought up, this pay raise, and the district ended up giving more just because the budget worked out. So it's really a pretty good process, and proud of the people that do that year in and year out. So just gets everybody in the same room, and some years you can revisit some areas of the contract that you can't, the MOU that you can't revisit other years. So you learn that process. So that was part of last night. We also, for the first time, I think ever, we had reconsideration of a library book. And we had a book that was at Greenbrier Middle School Library. Greenbrier Middle School has kind of and they call it the young adult section, which if you look that up in the literacy genre, it's for ages 12 to 18. And they had one book that a parent had asked to be removed totally from the library. And they put it in the young adult section that says you can check it out, but you got to have parent permission to do so. That decision by the committee, because there's a process, you can look at our board policy, that decision by the committee was appealed to the Board of Education. It used to be appealed to the director of schools, and we changed that policy to match legislation. So it came to the board, and the board voted to actually remove it from the middle school library altogether and keep it at the high school. So
Okay.
that was done Monday night. Yeah.
Okay, very good. And I mean, and I don't know a whole lot about the books, and it's been fascinating to me, the different books that are available and things, and how they're classed and all that. So I mean, I'm learning the process.
Well, all of our librarians, I think Dr. Brett brought up, all of our librarians has a master's degree in library science. You know, we charge them with putting those collections together, and they're the experts. You know, I'm not. You know, the closest thing I got to working in the library was the little student job I had in middle school, which really
Kept him out of trouble.
Which really kept me out of trouble. You remember that story? So that's as close as I really got. And but our librarians are just phenomenal. So now we're making sure that particular book is not in our middle schools. I think we do have a copy at one of our middle school high school combos. So we'll have to make sure and make sure that only the high schoolers can check that out at that school and not the middle school.
Interesting. You know, you talk about, I never knew that it was such a specialty being a librarian. And one of my daughter-in-laws is a librarian in Jackson, and she has her master's in and I didn't know that was a
Library
thing.
science, yeah.
I didn't know that was a thing, but yeah, it's fun, and she's brilliant. I
Yeah.
mean, they're just always so smart. I'm just saying.
And Dr.
fascinating.
Brett, our supervisor of material medias, is the one that's over our librarian. You can find her at the Teacher Center. Actually, you'll find her all sorts of different places. But we stole her from Williamson County, and she was actually the librarian that started one of their brand new high schools when they built it.
Okay.
I always forget which one, but yeah, I mean, she was hired to start their library there.
Very cool.
And build that collection and do all that in Williamson County. We were able to pull her a few years back to Robertson County, and just very proud of the work that she's done. Our librarians, you know, have support like they've never had. They have a budget like they've never had as well. That's one of the first things she and I fixed, was we've built their budget every year to purchase the books that they need, and as far as weed out the other books. You know, we had. One of our schools had a collection that I think the average date was 1989. It's almost
wow.
like, yeah, let's fix that. So she and I, from the very first day, had the conversation that says, we're going to spend the money, we're going to fix this, and we have when you look at it. So very proud of the work that they do. But the board did vote to take that book out of the middle school. They also approved a letter that will be sent to the Department of Justice that is requesting unitary status. There's some data we need to put in there, you know, based on what our school system looked like before the agreement, which was supposed to be pretty much a 5-6 year agreement, which was in 2014-15. So we're past due. So our attorney drafted that, and the board did approve that. After we include all the data, because we have to say this is what our school system looked like demographically before, this is the resources that our schools had before, and this is what they look like now. So once we get that, then we'll send that on, and we'll see what they say, because there's a lot of things that we have to do every year based on that agreement, and hopefully this will this is actually a step at requesting unitary status that the school system should have done 60, 70 years ago.
Oh, wow.
That they did not.
Right.
So now we are, and we're very proud of the work that we've done. We also we do have some teacher shortages in our schools, chemistry and Spanish in 2 of our schools, and the board did approve an agreement with a company called Elevate K-12 that actually provides a virtual, real-life teacher for those classes. We'll have a teaching assistant in there helping them, but the kids will still get the content. They'll still do everything. It'll just, that teacher will be on screen instead of, physically inside the classroom. So we have a couple of our high schools that will be doing that for Spanish and chemistry.
Okay, well, very good. And I mean, you have to work with the day that you're dealing with, and the teacher shortage is real, guys.
Yep.
Substitutes, all of those things. We need you.
Yep. And we were talking about it at Warren Elementary School in Bowling Green, Kentucky last night. They've got the same stuff going on.
Right,
so
absolutely.
Yeah.
So, talking with Dr. Chris Causey, we can go ahead and pause for a second and finish up with our breaks. I'm going to go ahead and talk, and we'll finish up with the board meeting review here in just a moment. If you have any questions, always put them up in comments, and we'll share those with Dr. Causey. But I do want to pause and mention Corbin Creek Greenhouse Gifts and Gardening Center. I went out very specifically because I wanted to get some of the handmade items that Miss Jane makes. She has aprons and pot holders and bowl cozies and things like that that you can give as gifts or put in your own cabinet. I wanted a Christmas apron that she made because I just love her. She's so sweet and just such a pleasure getting to know the Corbins, Amy and Miss Jane, since they've been one of our sponsors and one of our longtime sponsors. I just want to remind you, go out there and see them and put them on your shopping list when it comes to unusual, unique gifts, and you're going to find them. They're at 4920 Highway 161 in Springfield. Of course, they have got the CBD salves and things that Amy and Miss Jane make right there at the house. They've got a headache salve, they've got a bug bite salve, they've got a pain salve. All your CBD needs, if like me, your doctor has said this could help you. I have arthritis and it helps with my inflammation. I've been really surprised at how well it works. If you've got somebody on your list, you're thinking maybe you need to give this a try. This would be a great gift, great stocking stuffer stuff out there. I've picked up stocking stuffers there many times, but you can call them if you can't make it out during their hours. The hours are a little different than they are in the summer. They're 10 to 4 Monday through Saturday. Sunday they're open from 1 to 4 during the cold weather months. But remember too, the greenhouse full of beautiful things you can bring into your home. Bring some greenery into your home, especially here at the holidays when people are coming in. It just kind of brightens everything up. And if you can't catch them during the hours there, Amy says, just call me. I'll meet you. 615-384-3185 is the number. 615-384-3185 for Corbin Creek Greenhouse Gifts and Gardening Center. Our friends and sponsors here on 1 Street Over. You know what to tell them. Tell them you turn Central. Dr. Chris Causey in the house, finishing up the review of our board meeting from Monday night. Yes, he's here on Wednesday. We had to flip it because he had stuff going on yesterday. And so sometimes we do that.
I actually had a young lady that works in the district office that was concerned because she got on the radio yesterday morning to listen to me, and I was not on there. So when she came to the office yesterday morning, she was asking, making sure that I was not sick. And I was okay. I was like, yeah, not only is he not sick, but he's not even here.
Well, and I think a lot of people in the school systems do tune in specifically to hear you because Mark Gregory, he came by with our drones yesterday during lunch, and I was saying something about the remembrance thing that we did. He goes, "Oh, I was listening to the show this morning," and I was like, "Oh, I bet it was still hear you."
Well, you know what? A lot of our folks listen on the way in.
Yeah, and we appreciate it. We really do. We
and,
appreciate it.
And I've got friends of mine from other school systems, which I will not name, but I'm actually going on the app.
Yeah.
And the app is glorious, by the way.
Yes.
And
WSGI app.
And the Alexa app where you can listen to it on your Echo show or whatever. We do that as well on the days that we don't have school. So I'm for the most part I'm listening to you every day as well.
Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate that.
And I will apologize to Donovan. I did not listen in yesterday. I was not at a place where I could listen in yesterday.
Well, you can go and they're archived. You can go to the app and you can listen anywhere.
He knows if he's listening. He knows he and I have been talking a few times in the last couple of weeks. So, but I will tell you, for those who've been visiting Springfield High School basketball games, and you're at the home side and you're sitting on these bleachers, and you got these bleachers are horrible. Well, please know that the board voted on Monday night to replace these bleachers.
Yeah, it's coming, y'all.
And just to let you all know, let people know when you replace, and we're talking about like the home side, the ones that are mobile, not the fixed ones, but the ones that are down there at the bottom, that have been around since we built the gym. We're replacing those to the tune of $168,601.08, which is more than my first house. So a whole lot more than my first house. Yeah. So just know that yes, bleachers are very, very expensive. It's a lot of metal, and but it will they'll be electric and all that stuff.
Oh, nice.
So very, very proud of that, and the fact that the county commission and the board of education approved $1 million for this kind of work this year for athletic facilities alone. We actually earmarked that. So very proud of that. We did under new business. I'll get to that real quick. under new business, a lot of people saw this on the news. We did receive a letter of intent from a charter school organization. They had a certain date to do that back in earlier this month, and they did turn it in. And so us, Rutherford, Murray, Clarksville, Montgomery County, and Jackson, Madison County, I think, received one from the same organization. So we got the letter of intent. That's step one. Step two is the application is due, I think, February 1. But in the process, we have to develop a committee, a review committee that will take that application page by page. There's a rubric. It's not just I don't like them or I do like them. There's a rubric we have to follow on the state website where we will score it based on what the application says and what the rubric says it needs to say. So we'll score it, and then that committee will make a recommendation to the Board of Education, and then the board approves that application for a charter school in Robertson County or denies it. At that point, if they approve it, then we'll go through that process. If they deny it, then that organization has a chance to appeal that to the State Charter Commission. But one of the things in December's board meeting, we have to announce it, and we have to put a committee together, and then in January the board will actually approve that committee, and then they'll start meeting. And that's made up of supervisors, because most of the stuff in that application a supervisor needs to, that's what they do. So you have to look and say, okay, this is how somebody else says they're going to do it, how they're going to pay for it, that kind of thing. And then it's also made up of some community members and one Board of Education member, which will be Mr. White, the chairman. So we went through that. So just know that we were on top of that. Other than that, the rest of my announcements are really about events. For those who are not aware, the 21st, which is next Wednesday, is our last. It's a half a day. Reach out if you don't know what's going on that day. Please reach out to your school. I'm sure they've probably communicated. I think high school will be out. They've got finals before that.
Monday and Tuesday. Yeah.
So most of our high schools are pretty vacant on that last Wednesday.
Teachers, we're doing grading and doing those kinds of things. And if you have some late work that you're doing, we've invited the students. It's like that's your last chance.
Yeah, and here's the thing for those who go, really, you give them that last day? Well, my child, bless his heart, my child's last day of school was actually this particular day as far as visiting classes, but then he had until midnight of the next night to actually turn in some things. So we did not actually go get him until the next day. Even in college they do those kind of things. So just know that we, of course, the district office, for those who want to reach out to us, we're going to be closed the 23rd. So if the 21st is that Wednesday, we're going to be closed on Friday all the way up to the 28th. And the reason we're going to be closed part of the next week is because our floors are getting waxed. So we can't walk around in our office. We'll be there on the 29th. So just like I said, if you want to drive by and you see cars, please stop. And then we're off again from the 30th to the 2nd. And that's just really because of how Christmas falls. Yeah, the 2nd is really the 1st, because the 1st is on Sunday, and the 30th is really the 31st because it falls on a Saturday. So just the way that it fell on the weekend. Teachers do return on the 6th, which is a Friday, and then the students return on Monday the 9th. It's we have more days after New Year's Eve this year than I think I can remember having. I mean, that's a pretty good break after the New Year's Eve. Usually we come back like on the 4th, whatever the case may be. But that's just, like I said, that's just the way it fell. And everything else, please. Oh, I will tell you this: if you have an 8th grader, this coming Friday, we have the Career Exploration Fair, and we have our 8th graders that are traveling to Springfield High School to look at our CTE programs. If they're coming from outside one of our other 4 schools, and they're also going to Highland Crest to meet with some of the businesses that actually have these careers. So great event that Chamber helps us with, and our CTE folks, Mr. Gregory, and our CIA folks, Nikki Fields is our high school coordinator, and Dr. Pruitt is our supervisor. They work all that together, transportation, all that jazz. Just lots of, if you want to get in the Christmas spirit, I said this, come to an event at the school system this week. By golly, everything from choir concerts to band concerts to tonight. Innovation Academy has their TED Talks they do every year. Elementary music programs. I mean, you cannot watch one of those and not be in the Christmas spirit. And then the Epic players, or the IA group, is doing Annie Jr.
Yes.
This week. So and Annie was, I mean, it was kind of a Christmas movie for those who remember when it came out. And matter of fact, I do remember the funny. Just a quick sidebar. HBO. When it first came out a long time ago, they did a free preview. At the very same time that the Causey family got a VCR for Christmas. That was our family present. One of those that popped up from the top.
I remember.
You know, you hit the button and it popped up. And so we were so excited because HBO, for a free preview, was doing Annie. You know, the movie, Yul Brynner, as Daddy Warbucks. And so we were actually able to tape Annie so that we could watch it anytime we wanted.
And that was a thing.
And as a youngster, I remember that. And just and here we are, we've come full circle. But go see Annie Jr. It'll put you in the Christmas spirit. I can promise you that.
I'm 60, so I remember it as an adult. I remember going and buying my first VCR, and I remember the concept of thinking, wow, I can watch this anytime I want. And because we used to always have to schedule when things were coming on. The Charlie Brown Christmas, it was always on a Sunday night when I was a kiddo, and we were always like, come on, Dad, let's go. We want to get home so we can watch Charlie Brown. And being able to have those and just watch them anytime, that when that first started happening, I was like, this is odd. But anyway, thank you, Dr. Causey.
My pleasure.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you.
And I'm sure I'll see you around, but
Yes,
I
ma'am.
for sure will see you back in studio after the new year. Thank you for joining us, and thank you for joining us here on One Street Over. We will be talking with Jamie Nixon tomorrow. We'll do our sports thing. We're doing that sports thing now every week, and we're so thrilled with that. Of course, United Way will be here. Oh, Lee Marie's here. What am I thinking? It is Wednesday, and it's time for the Go Show with Lee Marie, and here she comes. God bless. Have a wonderful day. This is 1100 WSGI.
Time's gone by, I've traded
Barry and Rebecca Richards with the Exit Realty Garden.